Hey, it's Worth Playboy.
And my Playboys Bunny.
Welcome to our podcast where we discuss pickup, game, relationships, and
Sex.
today's topic is Womanese 101. What girls really mean when they say,
Exactly.
and we'll give you at least 5 hardcore examples of things that girls say and what they really mean most of the time.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty ugly.
And it trips guys up a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where guys go, you'll talk to like your dad or old guy, and they'll be like, yeah, women are a mystery. I never did figure them out. And they're like 70.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit. I mean,
if
he hasn't got it figured out, we're really fucked,
Well, or like, guys will be like, well, she says she's fine. So, and he just walked off and went on about his life.
I mean, it's like the guy that says, hey, what'd your wife say about you going deer hunting for a week with, the new baby and all the 4 kids? Oh, she was fine with it. She said she's fine. And then he, drives home and all of his fucking clothes are in, garbage bags in the front yard. Oh. I mean, that's what happened. Oh, you thought I was fine. No, I didn't mean that. I never said that.
Well, that's the perfect jumping off point.
Yeah.
So, number 1, when she says, I'm fine. So, I would say that more times than not, if a girl is actually doing well, if she's mentally, physically healthy, if she feels good that day, if she's having a good hair day, she's fucking not going to say, I'm fine. She's going to say, it's a great day, or I feel good, or there's going to be phrases that are not, I'm fine. I'm fine means she's anything but. I mean, think of how many times.
Let me ask. Let me interject real quick.
Okay.
Because most men are. So why do girls lie? Why do they lie bold-faced and in your face with that? Like, they are not fine. So why do they choose to be deceptive at that moment?
Because they want a guy that just gets it. Like we always tell people that they need to be.
But here's the thing, though, because some girls will say, I'm fine. And so then you track it. You go, okay. And then you, leave the house and you let them do whatever they do for 12 hours. And then there's another track, and it could be the same girl. It's just different hormones, maybe.
Yeah.
And they say, I'm fine, but they want you to go, what's really going on?
Right.
And then you're in therapy. I mean, so let's track the two difference.
I would say the biggest thing that is in the back of their heads in that moment is, number 1, she wants you to just get it. She wants you to know what's wrong because you know her well enough, you pay attention well enough, that you should at least have understood that maybe you said something really hurtful last night and you're completely, guys are notorious for being really rude and ugly at night and waking up the next morning as if nothing's ever happened and going on about being happy and chipper and playful and she's like, have you lost your goddamn mind? So
and if he doesn't know, no, it's this. If he loved me, he would know what he did wrong. I mean, I think that's a lot of it because I've heard the girls are like, if he really cared about me, he would, like you said, just know. And I wonder what the difference is in the wake up thing, because most guys do have to live that way.
Yeah.
Because most days are such shit shows that if they don't restart in the morning,
right,
they're done.
Right.
Whereas we know that some of these girls, they work on a 24-hour cycle.
Yeah.
They're up all night, on Facebook and with their girlfriends.
Well, or their mind's just going.
Yeah. And then they get up in the morning, they just pick up where they left off.
Right.
And he's trying to put the day behind him. Yeah. I don't know what to tell these guys. I mean, that's why I don't do counseling. You know what I mean? I mean, I feel bad because I'm like, what do you do with that?
When she says, I'm fine, generally speaking, she wants you to know what's wrong. Oftentimes, she won't necessarily hold it against you if she has to tell you, unless you argue with her in order to get it out of her. That just pisses her off and hurts her feelings. Quite honestly, it just hurts her feelings, because of what you're saying. But if she says I'm fine, it's more like code for, I want to talk about it. I want you to understand. I want you to know what's the matter. I don't know why we say I'm fine, but that's our line. But the best thing that you can do is try really hard not to get angry, and try really hard to soften enough to where she feels, and I hate to use this phrase, but it's the best kind of phrasing to use, to where she feels safe to tell you what's bothering her. And I know that sounds very like not in our neighborhood kind of conversation, but girls never know. Girls have guys go off on them and flip a switch on them so frequently, and it's at the most minor things that's why I say she needs to feel safe enough to actually tell you what's the matter.
How about when guys, let's say, because girls have incredible timing. And most of the time,
inevitably he's trying to get out the door.
Exactly. So what should he do to buy time, or to, what would you say, bridge to where he can get back to it?
I would say because you're right. Girls are great at like starting the morning with this shit, or whenever you're the busiest, that's when it's definitely going to come up. Whenever you need to focus on a project the most, that's definitely when, she's going to be, I'm fine. So I think the best way for him to handle that would be to like touch her leg, grab her arm, touch her arm, maybe give her a hug, something along those lines, something soft.
Reassuring.
Yeah, something reassuring. That's a good way to put it. And say, baby, I can tell that you are anything but fine, that you have something on your mind, and I want to hear about it. I've got this, and this today, but this evening, or whenever the time is, or tomorrow I'd like to go to lunch. Whatever, give her kind of a date, a time when you can talk about this. And then you're both prepared for whatever it is that she's bringing.
Good.
And then you can approach it in a more neutral place. Not to mention the fact it actually sometimes works in your favor. Because like we always say, a lot of the problems that you wake up with in the morning disappear by evening. They work themselves out. A lot of times the non-action goes a long way in kind of smoothing things out. Yeah. And don't trip all over yourself to make right whatever it is whatever the perceived wrong. It may have nothing to do with you. But if you don't have time in that moment to have 45 minutes to just sit and stop everything in your world to have this discussion, give her some reassurance. Tell her you recognize that there's something going on and you would like to talk about it. Can we talk about it right here? Kind of set an appointment to talk about it.
Again, you shouldn't hear this but 3 or 4 times a year. This isn't something that should be happening like weekly, because then you probably have a home life that's like more fucked up.
Yeah.
This is a big, like, she shouldn't be doing this weekly, daily.
No. You've got a drama queen on your hands if you do. She probably cries a lot too.
Woo!
Yeah.
Next one.
I would say number 2, when she says, I don't know. I don't know. I wrote an email once about this topic, and I said this phrase can be used when a woman is unsure about something or needs more time to think. So truly, it's I don't know. Men may interpret it as dismissal or indecisiveness, but it's crucial to understand that she may genuinely not have an immediate answer. I think that the biggest thing with girls when they say, I don't know, is she's indecisive and she doesn't want the pressure of making the decision of whatever it is that you're talking about. Like we've talked about, if a girl chooses the house and then stuff starts going wrong with it, maybe the hot water heater breaks in the first week, maybe the flooring all needs to replace. It turns out that there's asbestos. Whatever it is, guys will then start getting, more often than not, will start getting really irritated. Well, you had to have this house. Well, you chose this house because it had the perfect kitchen. You know, even if it's just out of the price range and she wants it so bad, if she chooses it, then he inevitably starts hanging that over her head.
Yeah.
And she does not want that. So she is much wiser in a lot of things to say, I don't know. I don't know what I want right now. I don't know what I want to eat. I don't know which house. Which house do you like the best? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what car. Which one do you think would be best for me?
Well, I think you're at risk here too. Like we've talked about the house thing.
Yeah.
That she's going to start hiding things.
Right.
I mean, it's like if the finances are bad and she can't stop spending, she's going to start hiding purchases.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, so I guess I don't know would be right before she starts hiding things from you.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't mean she stops anything. It just means you're going to find out much later when the problem's bigger.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's a good
That's
point.
pretty good. I mean, and again, I've heard some of these phrases over the years. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't hear it a lot because all these are very frustrating, you know, for guys.
Yes.
Now, I don't know where I would tell guys, this is the only thing I can, where I've talked to guys and they start hearing, I don't know, probably because they reach out to us when they're in crisis, you know.
Yeah.
When she's like fucking around or she wants to break up and he's like they were going to get married, but now she's like not sure. Do you still want to get married? Do you still want to get married? I don't know. We can go ahead and grab your shit and you can block her phone and you can turn off all social media because she's done.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. When girls get indecisive about relationship stuff, she's already decided that she's gone.
It's best, and we've always talked about this, is like girls take pride in dumping every guy they've been with. You know what I mean? So it's always good to go ahead and pull the trigger first.
Yeah.
You know.
She's already done it in her head. Now, make no mistake, she'll make a big dramatic deal out of it if you dump her first.
Yeah.
Even though she's already essentially like moved on in her brain.
But she won't, unless you catch her off guard, she won't ask for closure. She'll know. She'll have already, start working on another guy. But the I don't know when it comes down to your relationship, go ahead and just.
It's true.
Pack your bags or pack her bags. And, and for men that are married, you can go ahead and start filing. It's done.
It's true. I mean, girls who are indecisive about your relationship, if you've been together a long time, anytime at all, for real relationship purposes, and she is indecisive about your relationship, that is an absolute red flag that you should not ignore.
Yeah, if you hear I don't know, it's bad.
Number 3, you don't have to. It's okay. Those two, it's kind of two phrases. Sometimes they go into one. Sometimes they're said individually.
She's going to brunch with her mother.
Yes. With her parents. With
her
parents
at what do they call that? Like a tea? Where
like a tea room?
Like a tea room at a antique store.
Yeah.
And I want you to go.
Yeah.
But you have gun cleaning that hour.
Yeah.
That's when you normally, hunt wild boar with a knife. But she wants you to go in a 3-piece suit to tea time at the antique store with her parents.
Yeah.
And so what do?
Man, that's a toughie because if she says you don't have to,
you don't have
okay. To. It's fine. You don't have to.
But baby, that's when we usually do the boar hunting in the backyard.
It's fine. Whatever. I'm just gonna jump in the shower.
I'm just gonna tell my parents you don't love me anymore.
It is a fine line because guys don't like to be uncomfortable.
No.
Guys don't like to be uncomfortable is number 1. So this is one of the primary reasons I think that I don't know comes out. You don't have to, comes out because she's like, well, I just went to this party and I just went to this birthday party for that buddy of his that I hate, and you
Yeah.
know, I joined a bowling team and I learned how to bass fish, and he can't go to this one fucking lunch. This is where girls get irritated. Now, not to put all the weight on you guys. She's also saying, you don't have to. It's okay. Because she genuinely wants you to go. This is where you just kind of, I hate to say, I hate to say it this way, but this is where you doing gun cleaning in that same hour is not the best thing to do. I would suggest saying, I know your parents are in town for just a few days, hopefully for your sake in this conversation. You know, I want to be able to make dinner, so I need to be able to work on this project like through lunch. You know, I may just take lunch at my desk or something along those lines. Like, I'm important. My time is valuable. I'd like to do this better thing with you at a later time. I mean, what do you think of that?
Here's the caveat.
Yeah.
Because, and I get this from guys that we talk about girls wanting to interrupt his training. You know,
yes.
Girls will purposely schedule things when you're supposed to be at the gym.
Absolutely.
So if you see a pattern, you nick that in the bud. Just go, never between 7 and 8, I'm not available.
Yeah,
you know.
perfect.
But if we're talking about her parents are in town,
right,
they're usually not. And this is the maturity thing. I used to decline a lot of things because I was uncomfortable. And I still decline things if they're too uncomfortable, but it's not about me. You know, so many things, like guys won't go to birthday parties, they won't go to, like, you know, weddings or whatever, but it's not about you.
Right.
It's about celebrating the event, and your presence is important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
As support or witness. So that's where you kind of have to, like, pick and choose your battles.
Right.
And also be very circumspect of, is she working on a larger agenda, or does she truly just want you at tea time with her parents, and no one will see you?
You're like, could it be a different kind of tea time? Could we play
Yeah,
golf
can we
instead?
play? Exactly. But it's usually best, I mean, if you can, you know, is to find a girl that understands.
Yeah.
Men don't want to do certain things. Because girls will try to drag their husbands or boyfriends to, like, baby showers. And
I don't want to go to a baby shower.
Even the dads,
you.
even the dad's like, yeah, I can't be there.
Well, and that's where, and I mean, the example of a tea time brunch is a little, you know, funny, but it's also a good reminder, because there are a lot of, like, dads, like, they're retired, they have nothing to do, they don't care. They just want to do what their daughter and their wife wants to do. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. They get easier going. Like we always say, that wasn't my dad. That's not the dad that I grew up with. That's not
the dad that raised me.
Yeah.
No.
The grandfather to my kids is not the same dad that I had. That's not the same man. And there are jokes like that for a reason, because guys tend to soften a little bit, you know, to that kind of stuff.
And the grandkids are completely different than the kids.
Yeah. Completely.
Way different.
But so, you know, well, daddy's going, and why won't you go? Or that kind of thing, you know.
Because your dad is 90.
Because your dad's retired. Yeah. He has time. He doesn't care.
Because your mom will bitch.
His masculinity is not at stake here. Nobody cares. He just doesn't want to listen to your mom complain. Like,
man,
exactly.
this is reality for you, right? It
is. But just understand that when she says you don't have to, it's okay, she's trying to be polite. It's also a little passive aggressive, you know.
She's giving you some time to decide. In a way, you know, I mean, you have to pick and choose your battles. Yeah. You don't have to go to everything.
No, God, no.
But that's where I think a girl's doing in this instance is she's giving you time to decide, am I going to, like, is this worth it, or should I just change my schedule this one time? You know, but again, you got to know who you're dealing with. And the ideal the ideal scenario is there's a lot of girls that kind of get it. You know, we always talk about guys just getting it. Girls that just get it generally don't try to put their husbands, boyfriends in bad positions.
No.
They're like, oh, this is not something that you'd want to be at.
I only ask, like, I mean, I think I only ask you to stuff that, or I only ask you to participate in stuff that I feel like would actually be important for you to be there, and would be kind of an odd thing. Would be glaring if you weren't there.
Right.
But there are lots of things that I'm like, I'm going to this, and I'm not expecting him to go.
Like Christmas or Thanksgiving?
Whatever you wish. But there are a lot of things where girls who get it, they don't expect it, and they genuinely don't expect it, and they don't passive aggressively play games about it. Like, it's just like, he has no interest in going to this, and that's fine. When she says, number 4, I just want to be alone. When a woman expresses the desire to be alone, it doesn't necessarily mean she wants to be completely isolated. She may just be seeking some personal space or time to recharge. It's essential to respect her boundaries while letting her know you're available if she needs support. And I say, the best way to do this, whether she doesn't feel well, because, like, I don't really like to be messed with. Like, I'm so high energy, and I like feeling good. And when I don't feel well, I don't like people to see me. I don't want anyone messing with me. But I like to know you're in the house. You know, I just don't want you, like, tucking me in and, like, that kind of stuff. My sweet little youngest daughter, I mean, she's in high school. She's not little, but, like, she will nurse me to death to the point where it just about drives me crazy. You know, I'm like, okay, thank you, I love you, you know. So when she says she wants to be alone, whether it's she doesn't feel well, whether it's an argument, whether, she's got a huge project on her, career or something, whatever the case may be, she doesn't want to be isolated. She doesn't want to feel like she's, the only one there. But she doesn't want the distraction and the constant, like, noise of your presence. I don't know how best to put it.
I'm just trying to imagine, like, when you had COVID and she slept on a blow-up mattress in, like, the extra room.
Oh.
But I didn't see you a lot. I was here.
Yeah.
But.
And that was perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you had COVID. I mean, I felt bad. I mean, you were, like, sick. So I see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't far, and I didn't, like, decide that was a good time to go skiing or take
exactly.
vacation.
You'd kind of check on me, but
but you're not up her ass.
No,
yeah.
No.
I don't know, because I've never either. I know very clingy women or very social women, but I've never heard women say it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think that, like, because I think of the nature of women these days. I do think that there are a lot of women who are like, he's just so clingy. He never leaves me alone. I just want to be alone.
Oh, yeah.
And if she's working on a big project, yes, she needs to focus. Like, yes, it'll get done faster if you don't interrupt her every 10 minutes or, start singing in, the same room, or, like, just walk in the door talking. These kinds of things that you guys do a lot. I'm not talking about you, honey. I'm talking about them. But for the most part, going and running a few errands, okay, I get it. You've got a lot going, or you're thinking about this, or you're mad about this, or whatever. Run an errand. Go to the office. I'm going to be back in an hour. I've got some stuff I need to do at the office. I'll be back. And then, these are ways that you can kind of get around that to where she doesn't feel like you've left her alone, but she's still, kind of in her own head. Number 5, you should know. You should just know. You should just know what I want for Christmas. You should have known what I'd want to do for Valentine's Day. I mean, we have a client, God bless this man that she's dating. They are happy as can be, but at Valentine's, he hadn't been in a a lot of hardcore relationships. This is his first real one.
Was it the day before?
The day before, she's like berating him because they don't have reservations for Valentine's Day. Because he's like, well, we'll go out to dinner, but he doesn't have reservations, as if that is how it works. He doesn't know. Girls, we say this probably every single podcast that we do. Girls want a guy who just gets it. And this is where, you know, your dating system, I think, comes into play in a lot of ways, because it really drives home the point that you need to have plans for things. Basic Training is another great example of these. Another great book that is a great example of this. Things that you need to just know, count, and kind of keeps you out of some of these landmines that girls will run you right into.
Well, like in Basic Training 1 and 2, and also even like the dating system.
Yeah.
It's everything I learned. Generally, I learned the hard way and over time.
Exactly.
And these are all lessons. I mean, some things my dad taught me and just watching other guys operate. But that's the thing, is that a lot of these, just like reservations.
Right.
If you've been married, or, you know, let's say you didn't eat out a lot because you have 4 or 5 kids, you don't know that you need reservation. It just doesn't even literally, I mean, what we take for granted now, 15, 20 years ago, I didn't even think about. Why would I need, I mean, you don't need reservations at Chili's.
Right.
You know, or Applebee's, you know.
Exactly.
But generally, most restaurants in a city, you do. But it's little things that add up. And what I try to convey is all these things that you don't think about that end up fucking up your time with her are a distraction.
Yes.
And once you kind of like learn and get a system, you don't have to do it once, it allows you to enjoy yourself instead of worrying about logistics.
You both have a better time.
And a plan. Yeah. Even taking 30 minutes to put something together, and it does not even take 30 minutes.
No.
You'll have a much better 4 to 6, 7 hour evening.
Yeah. Than
if you're like winging it and nothing's going right and you don't know where to park and all these horrible things.
Sure.
You know, so yes, a lot of Basic Training 1 and 2 is just getting it.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's little stuff.
And what's great about that also, from like, even if you're doing like pretty casual dating, is girls are looking for that connection, and nothing blows a girl's mind in a positive way more than a man who remembers some little tidbit about her, remembers her kids' names. I mean, remembers, you know, what her favorite, what she ordered last time we were at this restaurant. You know, whatever the case may be, this kind of you should know is sometimes an unfair expectation on the female's part, when she gets irritated because they've been together for 10 years and he still doesn't know which flavor ice cream she likes the most. Like, you know.
Or that she has a sister.
You're such a dork. But these are ways that she is trying to create or test your emotional connection to one another in a way. So if you have like the Basic Training 1 and 2, if you have the Build Your Dating System, if you have the kind of lessons that those 3 books really teach, you're a guy who just gets it, and you run into these kinds of issues less.
It's true.
Just like, I mean, even with simple, you know, dating, when you're first like hooking up with somebody, just first meeting somebody, first putting someone in your phone, like you've talked about, put their name, grab a picture as soon as you can, you know, and put like in the business or whatever line, say where you met them, you know.
Yeah, a tickler file.
Karen Peters Tinder, like, you know, whatever, or, you know, add their little nickname, you know, Sporty Spice, whatever kind of helps keep that fresh in your mind, and keep track of these little things that seem important to her, you know, that you can kind of work with, because it's really she's really giving you tools to work with in order to better get her in your bed and locked in on you.
Absolutely.
By being a guy who just gets it. So this is a very long explanation for 5 key phrases that if you hear Womanese 101, that's the perfect name for this, because these are 5 key phrases. I'm fine. I don't know. You don't have to. It's okay. I just want to be alone. You should know. These 5 phrases, if you hear them, you need to know what you're really hearing.
Yeah. And how to react.
And how to react.
Perfect.
We hope that this helped you. If you like this podcast, if you know someone who genuinely needs to hear this podcast, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, and comment down below when you've heard these phrases and maybe different ways that she's responded, that you've reacted, different ways that you handle it or circumstances where you've heard this stuff. We love your stories. Bye.